Hey, family. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Inspired House with Desmond Davis. I am your host, Desmond Davis, and it's crazy to think like, yo, we're really doing this. We're starting a podcast. Who would have thought, right? To sum it up short and sweet, our mission here is to really get people into a place of purpose. And so we're going to be interviewing folk who are achieving at a high level, who are attaining great levels of success, but they're not just successful, but they're walking in purpose. And so my goal is to get those people to you and to be sort of that bridge where the questions that you have can be asked of those people and that you can get some insights and get some valuable nuggets that might be just the deciding bit of information you need to be great, to launch that dream business, to write that book, to make that big move. Whatever big step you're looking to take, the goal of the Inspired House is to give you just enough inspiration, just enough insight, and just enough community so that you can get started and then you can make those things happen. And so, a little bit about me. I am, of course, the founder. I'm a coach. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. Uh, I'm a believer, right? I believe in God and part of a local church. And a lot of what I've gleaned has come from kind of two things: being a part of church community and being a part of a industry where a lot of young people come and they begin to get developed. And that's the higher education industry, right? And I call it an industry because college is very much a business, y'all. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. But the reason why I started this podcast is because I've gleaned a lot of things. I've learned principles that I use currently in my business that has helped me be successful, that has and to launch products and to speak internationally and to do conferences and to build an amazing network that I want to give access to you. And so some of the things that I've gleaned has been this need for community and how whether it's church community or whether it's college community, you have to have some type of support. You have to have some type of circle. You have to have some type of accountability if you're hoping to reach that level of greatness that you know you're destined. So as we kind of get started with this first episode, the whole goal is to kind of lay out some vision of why it's called the Inspired House and what we're looking to do. And so the idea of the Inspired House is that we want to build a community and build a place where folk are finding that inspiration and that you're able to get the things that you need so that you can walk in purpose. You can walk in a level of high achievement and feel that sense of fulfillment, knowing that you're making an impact. And so, real quick, I just want to describe for me and the definition we're going to be using on what it means to walk in purpose, right? Especially at a high level. And so, what we here at Davis Inspired consider walking in purpose is really this conviction that you're doing what you're created to do. You're walking in the fulfillment of the you're walking in the full breath, the full power and strength of why you're here on this earth, right? And you're doing that, of course, at a high level, but you're doing it at a high level that is also giving you provision, that is also giving you resource, revenue, income, right? There's a lot of people who are working and trying to make an impact and they say they're walking in purpose, but there really is no provision coming through. And again, I know that may not be popular. We may alienate some listeners off the get-go, but I'm a firm believer that if you're walking in purpose, your purpose should lead to some type of provision. Because if you don't have no provision, how can you continue to walk in purpose? And so this idea of when we talk about purpose, we're talking about doing what you're created and been put on this earth to do in such a way that it is bringing you some type of revenue, some type of sustenance so that you can live, right? We're not saying that it's always just to be a millionaire, but it's so that you can live, so that if you have a family, your family has what they need, right? Maybe not always what they want, but at the very least what they need. And so this idea of purpose is walking that out in being effective enough so that you have that provision, right? The other part of purpose that we really want to address is that purpose working in rhythm or working in harmony with your day to day life. That you're not just 100% purpose, purpose, purpose all the time and your family life is trash. You're not 100% purpose, purpose, purpose all the time and you're not taking care of yourself. Your health or your hygiene is poor, right? And so when we're talking about purpose and the people who we're going to be bringing in and some of the guests that I'm really excited for you to meet. So all the guests that we're bringing in and all the conversations that we're going to continue to have are going to come from this place of giving you just another piece to the puzzle, giving you just another nugget, giving you just another tool or another practical applicable step that you can use so that you can be successful and so that you can walk in purpose at a high level. People who are coming in, these are going to be folk who are going to share all of themselves. They're not here just to only promote a product. They're not here just to flex their skill set, right? Or flex what they've done. Now, of course, they'll do that, right? So that you know that they're legit, but their whole goal is that they're taking this time and I'm taking this time to connect and be vulnerable with you. And so this idea of the inspired house is that we're staying inspired by our community, we're staying inspired by our connections, we're staying inspired by the vulnerability that we have to share not just our wins, but also to share our losses and to share the lessons that come from those losses so that eventually these lessons turn into milestones and they turn into the major points in our life where we found some of our greatest wins eventually. Sound good? I love it. I'm talking to you as if you like like right here in front of me. But you know what? Y'all are listening. And so that's all that matters, right? So to sum up what we're talking about, what separates us and what we're going to be doing is we're having in-depth conversations. Or of course, we're going to be talking about business, but we are going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about family. We're going to be talking about, for those of you who are college students, we're bringing in successful college students. We're bringing in entrepreneurs and entertainers and executives and all those folks. But they're going to not just talk about business, they're here to talk about life and they're going to talk about how they're building that sense of rhythm or that sense of harmony to really navigate not just work, but also life. So, to sum up what we're talking about, what separates us and what we're going to be doing is we're having in depth conversations. Or, of course, we're going to be talking about business, but we are going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about family. We're going to be talking about, for those of you who are college students, we're bringing in successful college students. We're bringing in entrepreneurs and entertainers and executives and all those folks. But they're going to not just talk about business, they're here to talk about life. And they're going to talk about how they're building that sense of rhythm or that sense of harmony to really navigate not just work, but also life. And we're doing a lot of this because it's just another extension of the services and the value that we're trying to provide with Davis Inspired Solution. The work in our heart of bringing generations together and not being just siloed, but helping people find purpose, helping people find inspiration. I think sometimes we can find inspiration for uh, buying clothes. We can get inspired to buy a product. We can get inspired to go see a movie and things like that. We can be inspired to buy a car to get a house. But when was the last time you were inspired to be your best? When was the last time you were inspired to walk in purpose? When was the last time you were inspired to make a difference? Right? I think a lot of times we're inspired to make a purchase. We're inspired to buy something and to give money, but the whole goal of what I want to do and what the Davis Inspired family does here is to inspire generations to radically serve, to inspire generations to become those future leaders that are making an impact and that and that they know that the dollar and cents will come because they're serving their community, because they're serving their generations, because they're serving the world. And so this podcast is just another opportunity to give that value and to really kind of just multiply our resources and multiply our expertise, right? Because I can't go and do every single talk at every single place. I can't go and coach every single person. But if you can get something from this podcast, then we're in business. You can get the tools and you can get the nuggets needed to be successful. And that might be just enough of what you need. You may not necessarily need my services. You may not necessarily need to do coaching or to have a keynote or a workshop or to do a one-on-one with me. Maybe this podcast is just enough. And if that's what it takes and you get the impact that you need and you're able to kind of get a blueprint on how you're going to pursue life purposefully, I say mission complete. I say we're all good.